Good morning, everybody. It is bright and early on Tuesday morning, May 4th, here in Connecticut, where I'm from. And hopefully, you've had a chance to start interacting with the course. I've noticed that some of you have posted some discussion boards. And the discussion board question for this week is sort of like a getting to know you. The prompt is tell us who you are. And it gives you this speech here, Lessons of Cultural Intimacy, which is a great little speech. And it gives helps set up some context for maybe helping you think about what you might want to talk about in your discussion board post. So it tells you that after viewing the video, tell us who you are. Your response should be at least 2 paragraphs and can focus on your history or on a personal experience that reflects who you are. So it's pretty open, right? So you can sort of tell us where you were raised, where you came from, what your family was like. You can talk about a few experiences that maybe shaped who you are and why you're here in this course. The peer responses. So I just want to draw your attention to the peer responses. I like using this pen. So the peer responses. Please introduce yourself to at least 2 of your peers and respond to their stories. Continue the conversation throughout the week and get to know each other. So a few good ways that you can get to know your peers is you can do things like you can ask them questions. If you feel like you didn't get enough information about their story, you can try to relate or connect if you feel you might have something in common. If you have a story that's similar to theirs, perhaps you could add on to the post that you already made. So I'm just going to challenge you to find ways to, when you respond to your peers, make sure you're elaborating in your responses to your peers. Okay. So FYI, tonight, I will be doing office hours through Collaborate. So what's going to happen is I am going to be posting a link. I'm going to go right in here. Again, this is Collaborate. This is where you're going to want to go. But you're going to see a link for Collaborate posted tonight on the announcements page. And all you got to do is you got to click on that link, and then you can hop into the room and you can ask me whatever questions you want to ask me if you want. It's not mandatory, but if you're feeling confused at all or you just want some feedback or clarification, I am here tonight for an hour. So check up here right underneath Meet Your Instructor. And when you click on that, now this is not necessarily your section, right? So for example, for section 35, my office hours are 6:30 to 7:30. If you're in the other section, it's the hour before. It's 5:30 to 6:30. So that's that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about plot, which is going to be your main focus this week. So in my first post to you guys, I told you that plot was basically the backbone of a story, and it is. And plot, I don't know if you've ever seen it, and I'm just going to draw it here for you. Plot looks a little something like this. Looks like a mountain. And any TV show or movie or video game now, because they all have such developed stories, they pretty much all follow this. It all boils down to this plot mountain. And if you watch a TV show or a movie, or when you're doing your readings, try to think about it through the lens of this triangle. All right, so what are the parts of this triangle? Okay, so basically what's going to happen right at the beginning here is you're going to meet your main characters and you're going to figure out what world they live in. Okay, so you might get the time and the place and the year and who these characters are and what their traits are and what are their motivations. But you can't have a story that just goes in a straight line where you just follow these characters in their daily lives. It'd get boring pretty quick. And we know this because when we tell stories in real life, we're so used to this structure. Try telling somebody a story that just says what you did in your daily life, right? If you tell somebody a story that says, this morning, it's a Tuesday. I woke up like I usually did. I had my cup of coffee and my eggs, and then I went to work. People would be like, yeah, and is there more? Is there more to that story? Did something happen to you? Did you trip and fall on the way to your car? Did you Did something happen at work? Like, why are you just telling me the basics? So there needs to be something that literally changes the course of your life or changes the course of the character's life. So they're living their normal everyday life. Things are going good. And they get a conflict, an obstacle that changes the course of their life. And throughout the course of that story, we build tension and we build suspense and we do something called raising the stakes, which the character now is going to have to find out different ways to deal with that conflict. And that's the story, right? In what way does that character have to change who they are to confront this problem? Okay. And then it reaches a point up here where they have to come face to face with this thing. So if it's a superhero movie, right? The superhero has been dealing with the villain and the villain's trying to stop the superhero and the superhero thinks they have a plan, but no, not really. And then all of a sudden it's like they're on the top of the building and they've got to face off. Okay. In other stories that you were reading this week, it might be a little bit more difficult to figure out the conflict because it's a little bit more subtle. But be thinking about it as you read. So you reach something called the climax. It's the most tense part of the story where the character either figures out, I know what I have to do to solve this problem, or the character must confront this problem head on. And then once the character deals with that, then the story starts to wind up or wind down, I'm sorry, into something called the falling action. So now the character has dealt with the problem and there's some after effects because of that. And then the story ends. And notice how we were back to this straight line. The character goes back to their normal everyday life, right? This is and they lived happily ever after part of the story, unless you have a bad ending. But typically, right, they start off normal, deal with the problem, problem's starting to wrap up, and they're back to normal. Seriously, think about if you don't want to, if you're having a hard time with the readings, focus on a movie you watch this weekend and watch how it follows this exact structure. So let's just go back over to our readings for this week. All right. So you've got another article here that'll help you, understand plot. If you did not like the drawings that I did, I will not take offense. But you've got The Invisible String and you've got Swan of the Gods. You've also got fairy tales, The Little Match Girl and Little Red Riding Hood. And these are very short stories. I think they're under 1,000 words or 1,500 words. So as you're reading, not only are you trying to figure out what's going on in the stories, but try to look at them through the lens of plot and try to think like, okay, what's the normal everyday life of this character? Oh, okay, what's the problem? How are they trying to deal with this problem? What seems to be the most tense part of this story? And then how does it wrap up? And then you guys this week, once you've done the reading, we're going to dive into this plot literary response submission. And I'm going to talk more about that Wednesday or Thursday. And I love this assignment. It's a sort of a creative writing assignment, but it deals with plot. So that's it for now. Hope you guys are finding the course okay so far. Again, I can't stress this enough. Please try to make a plan for the week so you can, make sure you get done what you need to get done. All right. That's it for now, everybody. Take care.